Hi folks, Slick Slices here. I am back after my hiatus. As many of you will know, I stood for Scottish Parliament elections. I did stunningly well, got a really good result, but unfortunately it wasn't good enough to overturn the SNP majority, and so the Nationalists won out, which is crying shame, but there we are. It is what it is. I have to learn to live with it. The flip side of that, I don't know if it's a plus side or the negative side, is that I'm back and I have a little bit more time to make a few videos. Now, yesterday Tobias did an open tag, the 5 knives that you have bought off eBay most recently. Well, I don't we can't buy knives off eBay in the UK, so I had to kind of bend the rules. He did say online. So these are ones that I've bought through an online company or through social media. 3 of them are through social media, and 2 of them come from a new knife retailer in the UK called Tactical Knives, and I may well review some products for them in the future. They've certainly suggested that we might do something, but the 2 knives that I'm going to show you today are 2 that I bought from them without telling them who I was, and I had a mixed buying experience, which I originally gave them a Trustpilot score of 3 stars, which they didn't like. I've increased it to 4 stars because things have moved on a pace, but it wasn't perfect. I hope in future they will be perfect. They will get better. They seem to have a modest, not huge, but modest range of knives, and relatively small stocks of them, so they sell out fast. Let's hope that that builds up a little bit, because they do seem to want to do some good stuff, and in terms of getting stuff to me, I ordered stuff and it arrived the following day. Right, let's crack on with these knives, because I don't want this to end up as a horrendously long video. The most recent knife I got is this one. It's called the Dually, and it's from CRKT. Now, it is one-hand openable, and if I had better hands, it would be a lot easier to open one-handed. I think it's very much, it's a great little knife for the UK because it's really very small. The blade is just over 1 inch long, and overall the tip to handle is about 4 3/4 inches. So it's a really small UK friendly knife. It's hard to imagine anybody getting upset about that. It did come incredibly sharp, though. I did strop it a little bit just to give it a bit more of a shine. Now, this is a Richard Rogers design. Now, I quite like Richard Rogers. He makes some nice knives. The only other one that I have at the moment is the CRO, which this is the UK version, but it has this same finish as a Dually, which I think is quite nice. I mean, it's a budget plastic, but they just put this nice sort of like a machined looking finish on it, which gives it an air of quality. This is a sort of 40 something pound knife. The Dually here is only £25, and one might argue that you're not getting much for your money, so £25 is probably appropriate. Let's move these out of the way. The one that I think it's sort of compares quite well with is the Kershaw Pub, which again you've got a little over 1 inch long blade. Pub is slightly beefier in the blade, and it's wider in the handle, but it's not quite so. This is sort of nicely rounded. This is very flat and thin. The other thing, well, the Pub comes in either carbon fibre or aluminium scale on the front and a stainless steel scale on the back, whereas this is the same plastic front and rear with metal steel liners. So on this one you have this carabiner for attaching it to things. You can attach to a belt loop or something, and a bottle opener at the other end. This is actually a little sort of screwdriver, supposedly, but it's not actually very good as a screwdriver because it's too rounded But also, if you fold this, they're both friction folders, I should also say, or detent folders is probably more accurate. Again, they each have a bottle opener on the end, which I find quite useful. The Dually has a clip, the pub doesn't, so you need to attach this by the carabiner. You can do whichever one you want with this one. I keep it in a little leather slip in my pocket. And I've been carrying this as a counterpart to my Medford on belay, which I've been carrying a lot lately because I haven't been allowed to go out. So a good opportunity to carry my favourite knife. Right, so that is number 1 on my list of knives. The other one that I bought pretty much at the same time, but this one arrived the following day. The problem I had with this one was it was a pre-order. It didn't seem to be made very clear on the website, but apparently it was a pre-order, and hence it came 5 to 10 days later. That's why I gave them 3 stars, because I thought if you order something that says it's in stock and you're going to get it next day, you kind of expect to get it next day, and I didn't. So it did arrive 6 days later, and I got some good correspondence from them. So, you know, it's hard to criticise too much, but I didn't think they quite scored 5. Now, this is a Rough Rider High Plains series, large toothpick, 5-inch handle, 4-inch blade. This is not UK legal to carry. I have a couple of other large toothpicks that I got from Tobias. This one is the marbles with ram's horn, and the other here is Colonel Coon, again a large toothpick. This is walnut. So this one is by far the most expensive, and on paper sounds like the best of them, but to be honest, the Rough Rider leaves it standing for fit and finish. I like the ram's horn one. It's easy to open because of this edge frosting, which gives you something better to grip on when you're opening the blade. But I don't like the etch otherwise. Colonel Coon has an etch on it as well, which I'm not wild about. The other thing is that these also both have shields. I don't like shields, but where and I don't know this is people say it's a measure of quality. I don't believe it's so, but it has a half stop, which the other two do not. Not even the much more expensive Colonel Coon. So I think this is a bone handle, so it's the High Plains series. Very, very nice. Quite taken with that. So that's knife number 2. These two out of the way. Knife number 3 is this little one here. So this one just arrived last week. This one arrived the week before. This one was a couple of weeks ago. This is a small Wostenholm IXL. This came in its box, but it's an older knife. It's got a little bit of paper inside it. So from the little bit of paper, it's a Joseph Rogers Wostenholm knife. So that's before the Ibbison days, but after Wostenholm and Rogers became one. So one could probably date it from that. I don't know the dates and anything. I love mother of pearl anyway. It's a little knife. This is the one I carried in my pocket when I went to the count. I carried this for a little bit of mother of pearl for good luck. It didn't quite come off, but anyway, there we are. It's just a nice little proper gentleman's penknife. I do have another Wostenholm one. I don't have many, but I've got one other, which is this one here. This is sort of ivory. Well, it's not ivory, but it's faux ivory covers. I assume it's faux ivory as opposed to real ivory, but you never know. It's slightly longer. but similar in many ways. It means it's got a longer blade, and this one does have a shield on it. And like I say, I'm not sold on shields, but nonetheless. So this one I got off somebody on Facebook, and I can't for the life of me remember who it was. But so it's sort of online-ish, but it wasn't from eBay, but it was direct from somebody on Facebook, which I bought a couple of knives that way of late. Which was the one before that? One before that was this. This is a SAteven Cocker knife, and a SAteven Cocker is one of the remaining little mesters in Sheffield, the sort of independent knife makers that still make little knives. I've actually got at least one other on order from him, but they don't come through very quickly. They're worth waiting for, but you wouldn't want to hold your breath, because the Barlow that I ordered was supposed to be here for Christmas, and it's now mid-May. But it's a really nice little Ettrick pattern, very shiny blade, picks up fingerprints like mad, but I like shiny blades, and I'm prepared to wipe the fingerprints off. I have a couple of other Ettricks. This one was from Arthur Wright. There's a sort of satin finished blade. It begins stag, but chalk and cheese really in the stag that's on these. And I also have one by Michael May, although this has a sort of pruner blade. It's not true Ettrick. True Ettrick has a Wharncliffe blade, invented apparently by Lord Wharncliffe, but I suspect by his keeper, for eviscerating small animals. Anyway, this is a really nice knife, very well made, and relatively inexpensive. I think it was only about 60 quid, or it might be a little bit more than that, but certainly sub 100. And for a handmade knife by a little master, I think that's great. Right, fifth one. Conscious time's rolling on. This one again I bought used, but I bought it again through Instagram this time. This is from Seven Ready in Switzerland, who's a YouTuber and Instagrammer. It is a Mcusta. Now, Acousta is machine custom, is what it's supposed to be. So it's a machine, it's a factory made, but it's supposed to be with a sort of custom quality. That's the idea. It's made in Seki in Japan. Now, I like knives made in Seki. I have a few from Higa Nakamis to Rocksteads, some Mokis, and I have two Mcustas. This one that you can see, and this one, which is I was going to say a friction folder, but it's a detent folder really. But it's a detent folder with quite a long tang that you can hold the knife shut with. This one's called the Higo. It's funny, I have a Rockstead Higo, I have a Mcusta Higo, and obviously there's the Higo Nakami. I don't know why Higo, but it seems like if you're Japanese and you make a knife, you have to call one of your models a Higo. Seems to be the rules. This one here is, say it's a friction folder, and it has just a 3-inch blade, or 3-inch cutting edge, so it's probably just about UK legal. Whereas this one is clearly not. It's a liner lock, and it's way north of 3 inches. You know, from the bolster, you're over 3.5 inches, and even on the cutting edge, you're 3.25, or thereby. So this one it's a liner lock anyway, so it's never going to be UK legal. But I use this quite a lot. I use both of these quite a lot actually. I bake a baguette quite often for my lunch, and I use one of these knives to open it to eat. So there we are, that's my 5 knives. But what I wanted to add to that is that whilst these were coming through, I did get another knife, but I didn't buy it. If I'd bought it, it would be mid-table. I think I've had this one longer than these 3, but not as long as these 2. So this is the Kaiser WPK, I think it's called, the WKP. Can't remember. WPK. And this was sent to me by Jason Guilfoyle, who has an Instagram page, doesn't do YouTube, but a phenomenal knife collection. And he sent me this quite out of the blue, no warning, just arrived. Sent it via Nice Slicers, who had my address, so he didn't even have to ask me for an address. Again, it's one of these extended tang knives. I quite like that as a pattern, particularly for these detent knives, because there's very little to stop them from folding over. But when you've got that extended tang, you're perfectly safe. Now this is a little knife. You don't really need me to tell you that. I'm sure you can see it's a little knife, but in terms of blade length, you're talking about 2 1/4 inches cutting edge, 2 1/8 of an inch, something of that now. Very safely UK legal. Now I have a couple of other knives that are very similar to it, particularly the MKM Isonzo, very similar shape. This is a Voxnaze design, but made by Akita MKM and many other knife makers, that is. And I've also got the Fox Suru. Now the Suru is more of a drop point blade, whereas these two are more of a sort of cleaver blade. But these two both lock, which makes them not legal to carry in the UK without a good reason. But I'm always struggling with what would be a good reason to have one of these knives. What is it that one of these knives will do that this won't do? It's a difficult question. Now I quite often carry this one. I don't really have any concern about anybody stopping me and saying, is there a problem with that knife? It's so small, it doesn't have a point. I can't really see that would be offensive to anybody. If you have a policeman who's being a bit of a job's worth, there's a good chance, you might get it taken off you, but I wouldn't flash it about if I thought there was a policeman about. But I like this knife because it's being a liner lock, and on bearings, it's easy to open and close. Even with my dodgy hands, the Suru is, no, I'll not be able to do this. Oh, there we are, done it. Is a flicky open knife, and again it's a frame lock. So there is a UK legal version of this, and if I had one, I'd be very pleased to have one. I don't have one. I did review it once because Al, UK Legal Carry Knives, lent one to me, and I was very impressed with it. I liked it a lot. Anyway, here we are. This is effectively a UK legal version of these sorts of knives. I prefer these ones with the finger choil, because it just makes the effective handle just that bit bigger. This one doesn't have that, and that makes it just that much smaller in the hand. Oh, there is a UK legal version of this, by the way, but it's horrible. I got one and I gave it away. It's Heine Haynes made it. The blade's the same. Instead of being a liner lock, it's detent lock, but where they really ruined it is they put these really highly textured G10 handles on it, which just makes it really rough, makes it very difficult to get in and out of the pocket. So I just didn't like it. Plus it's black and red, and I don't really like black and red. This blue and orange is much smarter. So anyway, my 5 knives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most recent knives I bought. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, if you like this stuff, thumbs up, yeah. And if you want to see more of it, and there may be more, please remember to subscribe and remember to ring the bell. Thank you very much. Bye.